Hello and welcome to part 4 of how to maintain your Toyota on the Car Care Now channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about your differential and transfer case fluids on your Toyota. We're also going to be talking about some wiper blades. Also, we're going to be talking about your air conditioning or air conditioning service. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Turn on your bell notification so you wouldn't miss out any new videos. And if you haven't watched parts 1 and 2 and 3, I will leave them in the description below for you. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Moving on to differential and transfer case. This is another one that most people are confused by. Well, what does my car have? A front differential, rear differential, front transfer case? So let me break it down. If you own a truck, 4Runner, Tacoma, Sequoia, Tundra, Land Cruiser, these are trucks. These are 4-wheel drive. If you own an all-wheel drive, RAV4, Camry, Highlander, Venza, Sienna, all of these other ones that says all-wheel drive, you have a front transfer case and a rear differential. And these have fluids that are separate from the transmission. Same thing with the trucks. The trucks have front differential, rear differential, transfer case in the middle. They have separate fluid. This fluid's got to be replaced. If you own a truck, replace it every 30,000. Around 30,000 is when we see them, that they get real gritty and dirty. And sure, you can do it earlier, but I do it at 30. Don't waste your money. And if you're servicing your car at the dealership, they come to you at 10,000 miles. Hey, you know, you need to replace. Don't. 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles. Some people say 15,000 miles. They're still clean. Don't. 30,000 miles? Yes, I would consider it at that point. Now, there's one car that has a small problem. 2005 to 2008 or 9, and I say 8 or 9 because hang with me here, Tacoma. Some of them had a limited slip differential. Some of these differentials, they all look the same. They have a little sticker that says LSD oil. If you put regular oil, you will have all kinds of problems. That's the way it is. So come this guy. This is the oil for that LSD or limited slip differential. This stuff is super expensive from the dealership. I think the last time it was like 80 or 100 bucks for this little can. You need like 3 of them. It's ridiculous. But if you own one of these cars, you can go aftermarket. I actually stick with this, and that's just the Achilles heel of that one model that needs this guy. Everybody else though, whether it's all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, trucks, or all-wheel drive cars or SUVs, you're gonna don't buy oil from Toyota. I just flat tell you, unless you're doing it at a dealership. But don't buy oil branded Toyota, because it's either gonna be 80-90 weight or 75-85. Most dealerships use 80-90, depends where you live. If you live in a hot zone, in a cold zone, that's gonna vary. But oil is oil. You can buy it from Mobil 1, you can buy it from pretty much anybody. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Use any brand. Don't buy the cheapest, unknown name, whatever. But just buy what you can find that's reasonable. If you're doing it yourself, that is. If you're doing it at a shop, let the shop use their stuff. Don't argue, what brand are you using? It's just oil. It's just gear oil. It's stinky. You don't want to know about it. Just put it in and have a nice day. If everybody else, RAV4, Highlander, all the all-wheel drive cars, most of them use 80-90. Some of them use synthetic, although we've seen them crossed and nothing really happened. Your front transfer case doesn't really get that dirty at 30,000, but your differential really gets dirty at 30,000. Those are cars that I would be very accurate about those times. 30,000 miles, 3 years, don't let it go further than that. Replace them. I mean, this is not an expense. I'd replace both of them at the same time, but if you really are on a budget and you need to do this, do only the rear. The front, it doesn't get that dirty around 30,000, and not until 60,000 is when it really starts getting dark and has shavings in it. One more thing I'm going to say about hybrids. Some hybrids that are all-wheel drive, like RAV4, like now we have the new all-wheel drive Prius. These have a rear differential, but they don't. I'm not going to go into how hybrids work, but they do have a rear differential, if you would. Now that takes transmission fluid that is WS, which is world standard. We talked about it a little bit ago. That has to be replaced every 60,000, and again, they don't specify, but I would replace it because we've seen some issues with those when the fluid gets real old. That's it for differentials, transfer cases, all that. Trucks, every 30,000. Everybody, front, rear, and transfer case. Cars, all-wheel drive cars or SUVs, the rear, every 30,000. The front, you can stretch it to 60, but if you want to do it at 30, there's no harm in that. Moving on to wiper blades. Now, I know this is not something that's a big deal. Most people will think, well, why are we talking about wipers? It's very simple. Well, actually, no, I'm going to tell you a little secret here. Do you see this beautifully wrapped wiper? I love the box of this. It just looks so cool. This is the worst wiper ever made. I'm sorry, there should be shame that this thing says Toyota on it. Horrible. Don't ever buy this from the dealership, online, or anywhere. It's terrible. If you're gonna go aftermarket, go aftermarket. Don't go aftermarket with a box that says Toyota and cost more. They don't really cost that much, but don't use these Sightlines. They're not good. Now, here's a little tip for wipers. Your Toyota, starting right around 2008, 2009, for most models, Toyota started using this style wipers. And you notice this bag is just horrible looking. This is a Toyota wiper. It is a very high quality wiper, and it's the best wiper your Toyota will ever have. Most people, they paid for those because when you bought your car, they came with it, brand new, and you paid for them. Then they move on to take these off, throw them away, and buy this. Why would you do that? Please don't do that. The dealership sells, to me, is one of the best inventions ever, the wiper insert. If you have this style wipers, stop by your dealership. That's the only place you're gonna find them. You could find them online, original, for a little cheaper, so research part numbers. Buy this. It's very simple to replace. You can even stop by your local Toyota dealership at the parts department when you buy them with your old wipers and tell them, hey, could you switch them over? They will do that for free. I'd do it for free to you too. A stranger in the street, I would do it for them. So I definitely do it for you. Maybe I'll make a video how to do that. They're very cheap. They're cheaper. These inserts are cheaper than this horrible wiper. But there is one small thing. If you bought your car used, or if you didn't know about this and you tossed this one out, these are pretty expensive. They're probably $30, $40 each. But you know what? It's the best investment. I highly recommend the original wipers. I would go as far as say I put these on non-Toyotas because they're awesome. I just find the right size, put them on, they're awesome. Wiper inserts from your dealership, highly recommended. Moving on to your air conditioning, and this is the new trend in the automotive industry. Oh, you need an AC refresh service or an AC recharge because it's a maintenance item now. People, why are you recharging your AC if your AC works perfectly? Let's go back to a little bit of science here and truth. If your AC is ice cold, works great, it's 100 degrees outside and you're ice cold in your car, don't do anything to it. It doesn't work that way. I see mechanics recommending, oh, you need a recharge. Why? Is it low? No, but you just need to refresh the Freon. Refresh what? There's nothing to refresh. If your AC works, be done with it. That's it. They could recommend you the world and tell you, you know, your AC will stop working if you don't do this. No, it won't. If you hit a rock in the condenser and the Freon leaks, then it's going to stop working. But then you need to fix the leak first. If it don't leak, it'll work forever. You'll have zero problems. And then they will say, oh, but you'll get moisture inside, and that moisture, there's a filter you got to replace, and it's going to cost you $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever, $100. Guess what? If there's no leak, how is the moisture going to make it inside the system? It's as simple as that. Then there is another turn they're going to come at you with. You need to clean your ducts. You need to get rid of the mold. Well, guess what? Mold smells bad. If you turn your AC on and it smells bad, smells like mold, smells like just horrible stuff, that is a common problem. This is an awesome kit for it, and it's very cheap, and it's actually not very hard to do it. I'd actually read the label, try to do this yourself. This is actually something very simple. Any Toyota dealership will have this. It's not expensive. The service, if they do it, is expensive. But if you do it yourself, it's very simple. You do have to crawl underneath the car to find that drain, but it's not very difficult. Anybody can do it. There's a lot of kits out there if you do your research. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper. My personal experience, I've tried a lot of them. I've had a problem with one of my cars. This worked the best, and I highly recommend this kit. Only if you need it though. Not just because the mechanic says you do, doesn't mean you do. Does your AC smell bad? Do you need to refresh your AC that works perfectly fine and doesn't smell bad? No, you do not. The only thing you need to do to your AC regularly is check that cabin filter that we talked about. If it's dirty, replace it. If it's good, keep on going. So this is going to be a wrap for today's video for this part. Stay tuned for future parts that will cover more subjects on your Toyota maintenance. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Also, leave a comment below if you have any questions, you have any comments. You're also welcome to email me at thecarcarenut@gmail.com. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have a wonderful day.